What is up, everybody? It is time, unfortunately, to talk about Lindsey and Mark. This couple is just the absolute messy. This might be like the messiest couple we've ever seen on this show. The franchise just seems like it wants to continually one-up itself for bad couples with each progressive season, and Lindsey and Mark, especially Lindsey, is really taking the cake this season. We start out with them heading to the retreat, and Lindsey is just acting like a little kid on a road trip. She just can't help herself, poking and prodding Mark nonstop like a little kid, and it's got to be Lindsey's way or the highway. We get to the retreat and get to hear Lindsey, acting like the sky is falling in Mark's life. Caring for another person is a full-time job, according to Lindsey, and that's something she didn't sign up for. Like, very, very bizarre to me. Like, you're in a relationship. Like, yes, you should be caring for that other person. Now, no, that doesn't mean that you need to be doing every single thing for that person. And in my opinion, Lindsey is not doing that for Mark. She might act like she is, she might say that she is, but I don't believe that for 1 second. This is a woman who is extremely selfish, acts really childish, and it has to be her way or the highway. A great example of that, the start of the fight they had. So they wake up in the morning. Lindsey is just annoying the crap out of Mark, just absolutely relentless. He wants to sleep a little longer. She wants him to wake up. She's, licking his neck, poking him in the ribs, everything to get him out of bed. Finally get him out of bed. He goes and gets them some coffee. They sit down, and Mark says that Lindsey is hyper. That's not an offensive statement. Hey, you're being hyper. You know what that means? That means you're being hyper. There's no veiled insult there. There's no backhanded compliment. That's nothing. That is just strictly a comment that was accurate. And all of a sudden, Lindsey is offended. We go from 5 minutes ago, her annoying the crap out of Mark in the bed, to Mark saying one joking thing. Well, it wasn't even remotely close to bad, and she takes offense. It absolutely ridiculous. And this starts like the whole ruination of the rest of their weekend. No one in the history of the world has ever been offended by being called hyper before Lindsey on the retreat. And then when Lindsey finally comes back to Mark, the first thing she does is take a dig at him. He said like, hey, how do you like the fire? It's pretty good. And she's like, yeah, I've seen better. She immediately took a shot at him. Like, not like it was a brutal thing she said, but if she's going to get offended over being called hyper, then she better not be taking any sort of little jab at anyone. And all through the episode, she just continually kept taking jab and jab and jab and jab and jab. This sound bath. Ever just out there trying to have a nice, relaxing sound bath, and then some camera person is just like swooping in, doing these B-roll shots right in your face over and over and over, like a way to just remove all the relaxation from that moment. Finally that camera pulled away eventually so Mark could have his nap, but it was almost a nice moment for them, but it just can't be. And yeah, they had their sound bath, and then I don't know where I'm going with this. Let's move on. Lindsey just has a special talent of making everything awkward. She can't help but take her shots at Mark, like she did when she came back from the hyper thing. But as soon as Mark does anything back, it is a huge, huge issue. We had the most likely game, and then Lindsey seemed to get offended that everyone thinks she would start a fight. Lindsey, here is why everyone thinks that you are going to start a fight, because they have all seen you start fights. This should not be a surprise to you, Lindsey. Like, it happened on the airplane, happened in the bowling alley, happening on the retreat. Like, everywhere she can start a fight, she's gonna start a fight. Like, maybe she has a places I can start a fight bucket list, and like Vermont, bowling alleys and airports were on that bucket list before the start of the season. And as soon as she was in those situations, she had to get that check mark on the bucket list. Lindsey once again says that she is done with Mark, and apparently the final trigger, Mark used her kerosene without asking. First off, somebody carrying around their own bottle of kerosene, that is a red flag. I don't care. That's a red flag. No one just has kerosene. And especially if that person is going to be possessive over their kerosene, major, major red flag. And then drunk Lindsey says that she's going to drive home. Thankfully, we didn't have that situation because she was hammered. And if you need proof that she was hammered, just go back and rewatch that conversation that Mark and Lindsey had in the bed. I have no idea what she was talking about. There was something about grieving and honor and pieces of her life, like no clue. Like how Mark sat there and just like kept like, I don't even know, kept that conversation, kept a straight face in that conversation. Absolutely remarkable to me. You know, she says that she's seeing disturbing patterns in Mark's life. Bed bugs in your apartment, apparently that is a disturbing pattern. Mark, you deserve so much better than this. And we end the episode with Lindsey, you know, suddenly she's caught this bug. We all know what the bug is. It's no secret. We don't need an MD to roll in here for the diagnosis. We watched the episode. We've got the diagnosis loaded up. Lindsey, that's called a hangover. That is a hangover. While she was sick and hungover, though, there was one glimmer of hope, as I must have been a slip, must have been an accident, but Lindsey actually apologized to Mark. You know, it wasn't like a deep, like really remorseful apology. It was just a simple slip of the tongue, and I'm sorry, but it happened. Will that be enough to save this marriage? Absolutely not. Time to move on. And Mark, if you're wise, you'll just leave her in that hospital and go carry on with your life. All right, everybody, that is it for our Lindsey and Mark recap for this week of Married at First Sight. I hope you enjoyed it, and until next time, we will see you later.